Give us the Chiefs. The Denver Broncos, if you told me right now today that the only way for the Denver Broncos to get in the playoffs and to prove their worth is to defeat the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs, as great as they are, give us the Chiefs. The Broncos, they're one of the best teams in the AFC over the last 10 games. They had a game versus the Kansas City Chiefs that they should have won. Had it not been for a great execution from the Kansas City Chiefs special teams unit and for a just disaster of a block by the entire left side of the line for the Broncos, they'll be sitting at 8-4 right now. And the conversation about the AFC will be looking drastically different. If you look at the first start of the year, and everybody talks about the Denver Broncos being 7-5, they start the season off 0-2. Bo Nix has maybe his worst game of the year in the first game versus Seattle Seahawks. He was overwhelmed. He didn't know what he was doing. The team was finding out what it was supposed to be. They played versus the Steelers. The Steelers, they were just better prepared. Veterans on the roster. They knew where they were supposed to be. They were ready before the Broncos were. And those were still close games. And then you get the Chargers game in which they did lose. There's no Patrick Surtain in that game. He goes out. Everybody's trying to figure out how to recalibrate defensively. They end up getting back in the game in the fourth quarter. And then obviously you got the blowout versus the Baltimore Ravens. That game got out of hand in the second half, especially, and at the end of the second quarter when just an absolute bust of a coverage and Zay Flowers goes all the way to the end zone. If you look at the Denver Broncos schedule, they've actually played very well in a lot of the games that they've lost. The issue has been execution and just Bo Nix developing. And even the game versus the New York Jets in which they won, Bo was still coming along. And even me, I had to realize that Bo is going to come along at a pace that's different than everybody else. Jaden Daniels had already started the year off looking super well. And ever since you get to about week 5, this team has looked different. Bo Nix has looked different. All of a sudden, Cortland Sutton looks like a true wide receiver 1 in the NFL. Devon Vele looks like a wide receiver 2 in the NFL. They're figuring out with Andrew Troutman how to get the tight end position involved. And then on top of that, the Denver Broncos, they might have the best offensive line in the AFC. That's a huge deal. And for them, they might have an argument for best in the NFL, but then you got the Detroit Lions, and they just have an absolute behemoth up front at every single position. But other than that, I'm looking at the Denver Broncos, and I'm saying their line is elite. Their defense is elite. Nick Bonito, he might end up leading the league in sacks if he has a good stretch to the end of the year this year, at least end up top 3. Jonathan Cooper just got a really good deal. You got up front Zach Allen, who's probably going to be a Pro Bowler this year. He might even make somebody's all-pro roster this year. And then you got DJ Jones at the linebacker position. They're figuring stuff out. They got a lot of guys that are just really good, solid players at that spot, even after losing Alexander Singleton for the rest of the year. Barton's been really good for them. And then even getting real production out of players that came off the bench that you didn't expect a lot from. And then at the corner position in the safety spot, they might have the best covering unit in the league, obviously because of the DPOY candidate and Patrick Surtain II. All across the board, the Broncos, they have guys. And if you look at the way the offense has been executing lately, the way that Bo Nix has gotten more and more confident with exactly what he's supposed to be doing on a game-by-game basis, he's throwing. A lot of people said in the offseason priors, oh, Bo Nix, he's going to hit a lot of stuff behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to do a lot of stuff underneath. He's going to be doing a lot of dinking and dunking. Well, Bo Nix has been throwing the ball down the field confidently. And it's so funny. As Bo Nix gets more confident and they start unleashing more of their offense, they're throwing in that intermediate area, that 12 to 20-yard area, more and more. And Bo Nix is finding receivers in tight coverage. He's throwing back shoulder to Devon Vele on third down. He's finding Cortland Sutton, Vele. He's finding all different kind of receivers and different personnel groupings. And even the fact that they're able to utilize like Jaleel McLaughlin, and they're using players on their roster in different ways to be able to accentuate the skills that Bo Nix has as a thrower. Everything about their offense has improved. They're one of the best offenses in the league in the last 10 games as well, and then having an elite defense to boot. I'm telling y'all, things continue to go right for the Broncos. That's a big if. There's a lot of luck that comes down to winning football games. There's a lot of luck that goes into getting good matchups in the playoffs. But as the Denver Broncos versus this Kansas City team that should have lost to the Raiders, they should have lost to the Broncos, and they were in a nail-biter with the Carolina Panthers. That team, Maybe they turn it up in the playoffs and everybody's just kind of washes away everything they've seen all regular season. But I'm telling you right now, a confident Broncos team that's winning games, that's got double-digit wins versus that team, even in Kansas City, I'm taking the Broncos. What do y'all think? Do you think the Broncos could be able to stand in a matchup versus the Chiefs? Do you think that there's a matchup they simply cannot win in the AFC should they continue at this pace and make the AFC playoffs? Y'all, let me know. This is Swipa, Mile High Sports. See ya on the other side.